Hey, buddy, welcome back to Ox Talks. It is Saturday, November 4th, 2023. Sitting here with JB. We thought we would just do a little steak night tonight, throw a little meat on the grill, just talk about some current events. Lots going on. We were just sitting here talking off camera. I was saying, you really have to dig now, JB, to find anything about what's going on in Ukraine. You have to dig deep to find out, what's going on with the Israel conflict. Seems like it's already off the front page, of the news. The stock market roaring higher last week was, front and center. What do you think about that?
It's almost funny and laughable, but it really isn't, because so many people are believing what they're seeing, and they're going to continue to make very, very bad, irrational decisions because they believe everything is okay when obviously it is not okay. So it's not funny, but it is in a way, but it isn't. Just the amount of manipulation and how they can just bold-faced lie to you every day, telling you that the consumer is strong, the economy is strong, everything's fine, while we're literally watching the globe melt down financially with war. It's a giant mess.
Well, we know we're printing, billions of dollars to send, abroad to pay for all the conflicts. I'll tell you, I was driving out of my neighborhood today, and I'm seeing a lot more open house signs than I've seen in a long time. For several years now, it's been really, really quiet in terms of seeing houses on the market. I don't think these houses are moving very, very quickly, but I'm seeing a lot of weekend realtors hanging around now, and they're doing the open houses. I don't know if you're seeing the same thing, but in my neck of the woods, we're seeing a lot more.
Just driving by a lot of the new developments that are under construction right now, I've seen homes under construction for 6 months that have not finished. So I find that kind of interesting. As far as the realtors, my friend out here said that one of his friends had an office meeting with their brokerage, and the broker of that office said, prepare for 12% mortgage rates. So if you're a realtor or you're in the mortgage industry right now and you're slow, you haven't seen anything yet, because we are going to see double-digit mortgage rates, I think, probably the first quarter of 2024.
I heard the same thing. I was talking to a guy I worked out with last week, and his broker, he's a realtor, successful residential guy out here, high-end stuff. His broker was saying they were looking to see 12%. So maybe that's the new number. But, how can people afford these mortgages? If you do the math on even, a $500,000 mortgage with 20% down, and you're at 8, 10, 12%, plus you have taxes, plus you have insurance, plus you have, your general maintenance and upkeep. How are people going to afford this?
And another one that a lot of people don't think about is HOAs. And the HOAs are skyrocketing. Many people's HOAs have gone up 40, 50% or even more. So when you add all that in, property tax, and then think about, how many years are you going to be paying on that house? And you're hoping and praying, keeping your fingers crossed that nothing goes wrong in the meantime.
An article to that point. Yahoo Finance yesterday says housing market affordability is so bad that Zillow says it will take you 13 and a half years to break even on a purchase from July onward. And it says today's housing market is the least affordable and least accessible it's been in decades, as mortgage rates reach 8%. So just how bad is the affordability? That's a question this article asks. And it goes on to say, new home buyers can expect to spend almost 13 and a half years in their house before breaking even on their investment. And that's according to Nicole Burchard, senior economist at Zillow. It says, taking into account typical and forecasted home value increases based on Zillow Home Value Index, assumptions for closing costs, agent fees, and at the time of sale, maintenance costs, also interest payments. Zillow's estimates are based upon market conditions as of July, when the rates were 7%. Now they're 8%. It says the timeline for homeowners to break even on their properties typically around 4 to 6 years, according to several real estate experts and resources. Now we are at 13 and a half years, and they're saying in this article in some states it's over 20 years to break even.
And does that include people who pulled HELOCs and pulled money out of their homes and used their homes as ATMs? how many years will it take for them to recoup?
Yeah, and so it's like when you get into a bad car loan, right? These people they will refinance out of their car loans,
Just roll it over,
and roll the debt over into another car obligation. That's the same thing they're going to be doing with these houses. They're going to roll over a loss into another house at 8, 10, 12%. So this on top of what we've been reporting on this week in both of our shows about the amount of layoffs that are coming.
Yes.
Well, they're happening now, unfolding, going into the end of the year, and expected going to 2020-24. We're talking about a confluence of events here that looks really ugly for the consumers.
And just to go back for a second, I just want to say one thing. Last week, adjustable rate mortgages were up 10%. Very, very dangerous. On top of what you're saying right now, with the amount of layoffs that are happening, it takes at least two people now to afford a home for the most part. If one person in that family, a spouse, husband, wife, loses a job, it's over.
These adjustable rate mortgages are really dangerous. And as the market continues to get more difficult, you have a lot more cheerleaders out there saying, well, this is the way you can leverage in, take on this adjustable rate mortgage or an ARM, and don't worry, rates are going to come down in a year or maybe even less, and you'll be able to refinance that into a lower rate. And look, if you as a potential home buyer buy into that story, you're being very naive. Because the people that are selling you that and trying to close this deal, make their commission, don't have any idea of what they're talking about. They didn't probably live through the 2007-8 crisis, and they don't understand that that there's no guarantee. And what you're hearing from Powell last week, it's probably unlikely that this is going to reverse course.
Yeah, I've never met a realtor who said it was a bad time to buy. But yeah, I mean, a lot of these, the Dave Ramseys and other people have come out and said, you got to buy now. Prices are just going to go up, and you can always refinance later. The question is, if we're at 7.5%, 8% right now, and next year we're at 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and Jerome Powell actually does what he says, higher for longer, you're going to be in big trouble.
Who else said now is the right time? Isn't it that Barbara, is it Cochran or Corcoran?
Corcoran, yeah.
From the Shark Tank.
Yeah.
I mean, she's out there, saying that there's never been a better time to buy a home. I don't know, the stats that we just talked about recouping your investment just to break even, seems like there couldn't be a worse time to buy a home. And look at the wealthiest people are not always the smartest people in the room. Let me tell you a little story I was just sharing with JB. I just came from the grocery store and I ran into a colleague of mine I actually share some office space with. He does property management. He has a client of his that just in about a year and a half ago bought 135 units, apartment units. He's made a killing on the investment. And he had a property manager. He's got a dispute with her. He has no written contract for the management agreement, and she's living on the property. A long story short, she's threatening to file a lawsuit. And they came to me and said, look, could you assist with putting together a settlement agreement to resolve the issues? They had talked about some very reasonable terms. I said, sure, no problem. A couple hours of time. Quoted a fee for it. And I just talked to this guy tonight in the store, and he said that his client does not want to spend the money. And this just goes to show you that, it's not always the people that have amassed the most wealth that have the most common sense or business sense. This is the same guy that's going to be on my doorstep in 6 months when this woman sues him for $250,000 of damages. He's going to come to me. I'm going to say, okay, no problem. Here's my fee contract. My retainer is $15,000. It's $500 an hour. You could have avoided it had you paid a couple hours of time and just done it the right way 6 months ago. So not always the case the way it unfolds, but you'd be amazed how much of this I see. So going back to my theme from every day, please, folks, do things the right way. Document your transactions. Have your agreements in place. It's amazing. It's so frustrating to see. It's not about the fees to me. I could care less. I'm very busy. The point is that I see this routinely day in and day out where people can resolve problems ahead of time. They can do things the right way, spend a few dollars, and they don't do it.
I would say over the last few years, common sense has just flown out the window. There's so many people in this country who have not exercised common sense, and that's why they're in the situation they're in right now. So many people got so much free money. the government handouts, the benefits, the stimulus, the PPP money, and applied no common sense whatsoever. And now they're in even more debt than when all this began. So common sense is gone. And you don't have to have a PhD in business, but if you exercise some common sense right now, do a little homework and some due diligence, and really protect yourself. This is the worst housing market I've ever seen in my life. This is the biggest bubble I've ever seen in my life. You could talk about bonds, stock market, housing, and to sit here and not be doing something about it other than just, laughing about it or just hoping it goes away, it's a terrible, terrible strategy. And a lot of people have no idea the pain that is coming.
But look, be patient though. I mean, if you do not.
But that's common sense.
It is common sense, and it's lacking, like JB says. But be patient. I mean, if you want to buy a house, maybe it's time to step back, save some money if you can, and wait this thing out. See what happens going into next year. Don't rush and make a rash decision on any kind of a big purchase right now. Don't let people convince you or talk you into making a decision that you probably know in your gut is not the right financial decision to make for you and your family. It's always the FOMO. It's the same thing, the FOMO in the markets. And look what happens. I mean, people that bought into the market, that lost all their money in the markets in 08, they still haven't recouped their losses. But the ones that waited for things to come down, guess what? They've amassed themselves a beautiful amount of wealth in many circumstances, and that's what you're going to do. That's what I'm going to do. And so, we urge all of you guys to give that some thought. Patience is you've heard it. Patience is a virtue, right?
Yeah. A lot of people will attack me and say, JB's never leaving California. You're never doing it. You just talk about it. Like, I need to talk about moving. Like, that's going to get me views or something. Like, if I talk about moving, but I really don't, but just talking about moving is going to get views for me. It makes no sense whatsoever. For me, if I bought a house right now, it would go against everything I talk about daily. This is the biggest bubble. This is a super bubble in real estate. Why in the world would I go and buy a house? I'm not going to buy a house to make a couple trolls happy that I moved. I'll move when I'm ready, but there's no way I'm paying 200% more on a house than what that house was selling for back in 2019 or 2020, now up 200, 300%. Why would I do that? It will go against everything that I talk about on my channel. So, there's people out there that, if you need to do it right now, you need to get out of here, and you need to pay 200% more than the house is worth just to get out of California. If there's ever an emergency, I need to get out of California, I have that ability. But right now, I'm exercising common sense, and I hope all of you are, but I see huge sales coming in the next couple years. Not that I'm going to be here for 2 more years. I will pay a premium to be out of this state, but the real sales are going to come when you're dealing with the bank, not the real estate agent.
Well, there's going to be sales, in my opinion, in the housing market. Mm-hmm. There's going to be massive foreclosures in the market in the next year. There's going to be amazing deals in the automobile market, the car market. Mm-hmm. I think there's going to be amazing deals in the stock market. So again, patience. Yep. Don't make rash decisions. And look, we are trying to. We don't do these shows to justify ourselves to anybody. But the point is that we do try to practice what we preach. Which is important, and that's how kind of we're handling our daily affairs.
Warren Buffett is sitting on $157 billion in cash.
Yeah. And what did he do last time before the crash or after the crash? He went in and bought all the railroads and all the utilities. So he was patient. All right, well, I guess we'll leave it there. I see my phone's refocusing back and forth. I apologize for that. I will leave it with the daily theme of please keep yourself in shape. There's no reason why all of you are not getting in 15 minutes or half an hour every day of some kind of exercise, walking, riding a bike, swimming. There's no reason why you're not dropping down and doing some push-ups, however you get them in, some sit-ups. Please, maintain your physical fitness. It's really important that we do that. We're going to go barbecue some steaks. I think I'm going to do a show with JB on his channel. They'll probably air maybe tomorrow. Tomorrow. So with that being said, hope you enjoyed 10 or 12 minute show here, whatever it's at. Maybe we've gone too long. Have a great Saturday night. Set the clocks back, I think, tonight, right? So it's going to be getting dark earlier tomorrow, which is unfortunate. But in any event, have a safe and healthy rest of your weekend. Talk to you soon. Bye.